What's up, guys? Part-time Gamer Dad here, and today I'm giving you my review of WrestleMania 41. Jumping right into night one, Jey Uso versus Gunther for the World Heavyweight Championship. This match was pretty decent. I don't even think it was maybe their best match ever, but the pace was solid, and really it was all about the story of the crowd being behind Jey Uso. Could he overcome Gunther, this unstoppable force that he has not been able to really defeat as of yet? And he did. Now, the pacing of this match was, while solid, was a little different than maybe what we anticipated. The match wasn't terribly long. This epic clash that we were expecting really didn't come to fruition, and the finish of the match was a little suspect. I mean, to put Gunther in a chokehold, rear naked chokehold, and then have him tap so quickly, didn't love that. Love the spear, the hat trick of splashes. That's what should have ended the match, especially because from the standpoint of how behind Jey Uso the crowd has been over the course of the last number of months, especially since he left the bloodline, I think it would have made sense for him to win his first ever world championship with his own moves and get the pin so the crowd could count along 1, 2, 3 with him. All that being said, I give this 3.5 stars. It was a really decent, great way to open WrestleMania 41 night one and WrestleMania 41 as a whole. It could have been much better, but the story it told, especially re-solidifying like Jay's killer instinct that he got back after Gunther injured Jimmy Uso, was a really great way to solidify him as a world champion at WrestleMania 41, and it's exciting to see where he goes from here. Next up, the New Day took on the War Raiders for the World Tag Team Championships, and this match was fine. Nothing crazy happened like I predicted in my WrestleMania predictions video for night one of WrestleMania 41. The reason this was put on the card was because the New Day were going to win the titles, and they did. And while it would have been nice to see somebody like Big E come out and play into the match itself, I don't think that was ever going to happen. This match was, you have a couple of matches on the show that were just matches that happened. And this match was a match that happened, but taken to a little bit of a higher level, especially because it was a title match. The New Day and the War Raiders, both formidable tag teams, and the New Day won. While not a crazy long match, it was fine. But it wasn't really warranting a WrestleMania spot, except for the fact that a title change occurred. I give it 2.5 stars. This is nothing to write home about. It was competently wrestled, but did it really need to be on the WrestleMania card? I think definitely not over the SmackDown Tag Team Championship, which, as we'll see going into SmackDown this week, I think that TLC match is going to be a lot better than what we got from the World Tag Team title match at WrestleMania. So for New Day versus War Raiders, I give it 2.5 stars. Now, going to a match that had about the same amount of time, but had a little more heat to it, was Naomi versus Jade Cargill, and this story has been really well constructed leading up to this match, and I give this match 3 stars. Now, here's the reason. Jade beat Naomi, which I think was the right call, but that spot, you know what I'm talking about. She got an electric chair and does like a spinning power bomb all in one fluid motion, picks her up, hits Jade for the win. That was an incredible spot, one of the spots of the night. These two women worked really well together. Naomi is going to be a really great heel. Jade Cargill, we saw some reports of like the previous ideas for WrestleMania 41, one of which was Jade Cargill wrestling for the WWE Women's Championship. And I think that's where she's heading to eventually. She can go against somebody like a Tiffany Stratton, even face versus face. Maybe that's where we're heading for SummerSlam, or somebody to take that title against Tiffany Stratton. Maybe Nia Jax gets it back off of her. The original plan was Jade Cargill versus Nia Jax at WrestleMania. Is that where we're heading for SummerSlam? It'll be interesting to see, but Nia Jax not being involved in WrestleMania, especially after all of this storyline happened with Tiffany Stratton, and she was the champion for a while. It's very interesting that she wasn't on the card. So do expect her to maybe play into the women's championship scene again now that Charlotte has been defeated by Tiffany Stratton, but we will see what happens as of Friday Night SmackDown. Now, in terms of this like storyline for Jade moving forward, I do think we might get a little bit of Bianca and Jade moving forward. I still see that as a potential match to come, but it'll be very interesting to see where Naomi and Bianca and Jade fit into the seemingly stacked women's roster after Raw and soon to be SmackDown post WrestleMania. But this match, great result, great effort by both women, and I think was the right outcome with Jade picking up the win. Give it 3 stars. Next up, and arguably what was the spot of the night, we had Jacob Fatu taking the United States Championship from LA Knight. Yeah, this is one, if you haven't seen my short, I did correctly predict 10 out of 11 matches, and I actually think I nearly had a clean sweep on night one. The only thing they didn't get was it was voided, was El Grande Americano versus Rey, because he faced Phoenix, not Mysterio. But here's the thing. This match, 3.5 stars, incredible, just energy from both guys. LA Knight's the megastar. Jacob Fatu is the future of the business. Well, he might even be the president of the business. That moonsault into a BFT, I don't care how much of it LA Knight got on Jacob Fatu. The fact that they even tried it and made it look legit to a degree, very impressive. Jacob Fatu going over clean was the right call. No run-ins by Solo Sikoa, Tama Tonga, and Tangaloa unfortunately did not return. But I think this match does a really good job in building Jacob Fatu as a formidable fighting champion, and I think we will see Solo versus Jacob Fatu down the road. So this match, 3.5 stars, really great showing by both guys. Now, the shortest match on the show was El Grande Americano taking on Rey Fenix. Like I said, Rey Mysterio got injured a couple days before WrestleMania, and so they had to find a replacement. They threw Rey Fenix in there. As soon as Rey Fenix showed up, I knew, or as soon as it was announced that Rey Fenix was going to win, I just had this feeling that El Grande Americano was going to win. I think if it was Rey Mysterio, there was a chance that Rey picks up the win and unmasks El Grande Americano. But since that plan kind of got thrown out the window, I think we saw a pivot, or maybe El Grande Americano was good to defeat Rey. I said there was a chance maybe he puts that little metal plate in his mask. Rey goes for the 619 and then hits it. It re-injures his knee, which has given him a litany of issues over the years. And then El Grande Americano wins there. Now, one of the other potential spots of the night was this moonsault backflip 450 splash. Like, Chad Gable, we could just say now, Chad Gable, what an incredible feat of athleticism from him behind the El Grande Americano mask. And this match, even though it was the shortest match, I think it was better than the majority of matches on night one and night two, quite honestly. I give it 3.25 stars. Really great showing. Rey Fenix really holding his own in his WrestleMania debut, especially so shortly after he debuted on WWE television, coming the same night as the announcement of the merger, or the acquisition rather, of WWE buying AAA, where they were out that panel and Rey Fenix was there along with everybody else. I thought it was interesting that Vikingo got involved. So it'll be really cool to see Vikingo eventually show up onto WWE television. I think he will be part of Worlds Collide. But what I also found interesting was they kind of highlighted this honoring of Lucha Libre and then how El Grande Americano win. I'm not sure what kind of message you're sending to AAA or his fans, but this match, the efforts by both guys, really impressive. I would probably give spot of the night to the Moonsault 450, but he landed it in a senton. Just what a crazy move. Great showing by both guys, and this one gets 3.25 stars. In a match that had a really rough build in terms of, like, it got a little personal at times, we had Tiffany Stratton defending her women's championship against Charlotte Flair. Tiffany Stratton, I really think this was her coming out party. Now, yes, she won the title before, and there was a lot of other things that occurred, but think about this. She's only been wrestling for like 3 or 4 years, period. She shows up at WrestleMania taking on arguably the greatest women's wrestler of all time, Charlotte Flair, and retains her title in a 4-star classic. This was really solid. It really kept you off of your toes. I'm glad Charlotte lost clean. And what a great way. It was like a decisive win. It wasn't like, oh, she got to roll up and Tiffany barely won. No. She won decisively. Had that great Barbie box entrance. I think Tiffany Stratton is the future. This, to me, was kind of like a passing of the torch from Charlotte to Tiffany Stratton. There's a lot I can say about this match. The most important thing to me is the physicality. I mean, Tiffany looked like she got her tooth knocked out. She had a big welt on her face. She earned her way to a win at this pay-per-view. And not only that, she really earned her spot. She solidified her spot as the women's champion, as the woman of SmackDown. Could not be happier with this result. It's what I predicted, and I'm glad it came to fruition. 4 stars for 2 incredible women's wrestlers. And in the main event of night one, we had Seth Rollins defeating Roman Reigns and CM Punk. What an incredible cinematic match. The best match, I think, of both nights of WrestleMania. And we'll get to the main event of night 2 here shortly. But this match really showed that the storylines that have been told and the way that Triple H has been weaving them together, he is a master at work. The whole storyline with Paul Heyman coming out with CM Punk being played to the ring by his band in living color, and just the fact that moment has kind of come full circle after he debuted that song 14 years ago after he came back for SummerSlam 2011 against John Cena, and now he came back to the company and he had them re-record it so they get the money, and they're all real friends, and like, this is just so cool to see. And he's walking down to the ring with his best friend, and then as we get towards the end of the match, Paul slides the chair to CM Punk to take out Roman, and then betrays him, hits him with the low blow, gives the chair to Roman, calls him my tribal chief. Roman just batters CM Punk, and Paul Heyman says, my tribal chief, there you go, on a silver platter, Seth Rollins. And as we're about to see the reverse of what occurred back in 2014, where Seth hit Roman in the back with the chair, we're about to see Roman do the same to Seth. Paul Heyman drops to his knees, low blows, really digs in against Roman Reigns, and gives the chair to Seth Rollins, who hits Roman in the back, hits a stomp. 1, 2, 3. We have a new Paul Heyman guy in Seth freaking Rollins. What an incredible way to tell this story. And we'll get to my Raw review later, but I will tell you right now, this whole storyline is looking very promising, especially after what occurred on the Raw after WrestleMania. So this match, easily 5 stars, and my pick for match of the night and probably the match of WrestleMania 41. Now let's jump over to night 2 of WrestleMania 41. Kicking us off, we had the triple threat Women's World Championship. We ended with the triple threat on night 1. We began with one on night 2. Io Sky successfully retaining her Women's World Championship against Bianca Belair, the winner of the Elimination Chamber, and the former Women's Champion, Rhea Bloody Ripley. This match, for being about a third to half as long as the men's triple threat, had a little bit more fast-paced action. Well, a lot more fast-paced action, a lot more high-flying. While it was grounded and more, to me, cinematic in nature, the men's triple threat, the women's triple threat was more about the athleticism, the quick pace, and also just highlighting how really well together these 3 women work. I really love the ending with the KOD. Bianca's pinning Rhea Ripley, and out of nowhere, over the moonsault from Io Sky to pick up the win and successfully retain the title. I give this 5 stars as well. I can understand if it's your favorite match of the weekend. This is number 2 for me, but this one, to me, it just didn't have the same like cinematic feeling, the same emotional attachment as the first match, but it was still really, really good. And just like I predicted, Rhea and Bianca took their eyes off of Io. They thought she was a non-factor in this match, and she used that to her advantage to win and successfully retain the title. This match, great showing from all 3 ladies. It is easily a 5-star match. Next up, a match that I really didn't care a whole lot about, and I'm kind of surprised by how well it played out on the show, was Drew McIntyre defeating Damian Priest in a Sin City street fight. And guys, I give this one 3 3/4 stars. What an incredible match. It's probably more of like a 3 1/4, 3.5 star, but that ending, the Claymore into the chair propped up in the corner, and Damian Priest, his selling of I can't breathe, really put an exclamation point of Drew McIntyre is a man not to be messed with. And I think the level of violence that we saw was something I wasn't necessarily expecting. Throwing from the inside to the outside, or through all the tables of Damian Priest, and just everything these 2 guys did was, you know, they earned my respect, and I'm glad to be proven wrong. I definitely thought Drew McIntyre should win, and he did. That was my prediction, another one I got right. But the match was much better than I was predicting it to be. I thought this would have been a 3-star affair at best. This, one of the best matches of WrestleMania weekend as a whole, 3 3/4 stars. And now let's get Drew McIntyre on the path to winning a world championship soon. Have him be the guy that takes it from Jey Uso, the world championship. Although we're planting some seeds, I think, for Sami Zayn. Could be interesting, but I would love to see Drew McIntyre win a world title in front of a crowd. It's about time. Give the man his flowers. Reward him for all the great work he did, having the feud of the year last year with CM Punk. This is the time to reward him by giving him another world title run. Another match, 3 3/4 stars. We had a very fast-paced, very intense, well-wrestled match for a fatal 4-way for the IC title, the Intercontinental Championship. Dominic Mysterio, another prediction of mine that came to fruition. People said I was crazy, But here we are. Dominic Mysterio is now the Intercontinental Champion, defeating his stablemate Finn Balor, the man he pinned to win the title, as well as Braun Breaker, the former champ, and Penta. This match, to me, did a great job. It did its job really, really well in telling this great story of the disillusion between Finn Balor and Dominic Mysterio, though I do think it didn't go as far as we all anticipated, because Finn Balor is still part of the Judgment Day and kind of there in support of Dominic Mysterio, although Dominic was the one who drew first blood against Finn Balor and was the one who pinned his friend to win the title. So obviously Braun Breaker is moving on to bigger and better things. Again, watch my Raw recap when it comes out and you'll get some details on that. But this match, really well done. A little bit shorter than the Drew McIntyre versus Damian Priest match, but I think accomplished just as much, if not a little bit more. And because of all that, I give the same score of 3 3/4. Next up, an open challenge from Randy Orton to somebody in the locker room to come wrestle him for WrestleMania. He is the Legend Killer. He's the Viper. He is ready to put his expertise and his legendary status on the line against anybody who would come out and wrestle him. And we did not get Jeff Hardy. We did not get Aleister Black. We did not get Rusev. We got Joe Hendry. At the time it occurred, I didn't love it. But then I kind of looked back on it and I realized the exposure for TNA is huge. The exposure for Joe Hendry is huge, and the respect shown from Randy Orton to Joe Hendry was notable. This is kind of like an everybody wins situation, with the exception of people who really wanted to see somebody like Jeff Hardy or Rusev show up. It was a nothing match. Let's call it what it is. Entertaining, sure, but there was hardly anything to call a match properly. There were some moves, but it was 3 minutes, right? That's 2 stars. In my book, that is match happened and it wasn't offensive. So 2 stars, but the match isn't the point. It was the pop. We got the WrestleMania entrance for Joe Hendry. Everybody's singing his song. Everybody doing I mean, it was awesome. What a moment for him. I remember following him as far back as WCPW and his matches with Kurt Angle and the like, and just have always been a big fan of the guy. And he was in ICW and all these indie promotions, worked his way up to TNA, did the digital championship situation against AJ Francis, and then now obviously the world champ, and now on WrestleMania. What a career trajectory for that guy. So all the flowers, all the respect to Joe Hendry, but the match itself wasn't really a match. Everything that happened before and after was more notable, especially with the second RKO out of nowhere. But give it, a proper fair rating. If I gotta rate it, which I don't love to rate it, but if we had to, this is a 2-star match. Next up, a match that I was pretty disappointed in, and I think the most interesting element of the whole match was somebody else showing up who wasn't even involved in the match, but has an ongoing feud with one of the competitors. Logan Paul defeated AJ Styles, and this was the one true match I got incorrect, and my heart took over in the predictions. AJ Styles is my second favorite wrestler of all time. I think this is his last WrestleMania. I wanted to see him win and just phenomenal forearm the heck out of Logan Paul's face, but alas, that did not happen. And it was competently wrestled. It just never hit that, 4th gear that we were expecting it to hit with 2 really, accomplished wrestlers, or at least an accomplished wrestler and somebody who's taken to it like a duck to water. So this is a 3-star match. The most interesting part was Karrion Kross getting involved and AJ Styles, attacking him and then going back in the ring and losing clean virtually. So I think we'll get some more interesting development between AJ Styles and Karrion Kross. We didn't really get that on Raw. I would like to, and we've had this interview. If you haven't seen it, go look it up. Of Karrion Kross, he's crashing out and just calling out Triple H and dropping F-bombs. If we're getting Killer Kross, yes, 1,000%. Let's do it. Let's develop that character. Have him shave the hair. Have him eviscerate, destroy AJ Styles, which they might be doing because he just got his Fall and Prey theme song back, and the whole interest with Scarlett could be heading that direction. That'd be awesome. But I think we will see a continued developed story between Styles and Kross, and hopefully we see Killer Kross return as he was originally presented in NXT. Next up, we had Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez defend their women's tag team championships against Lyra Valkyria and a mystery partner. I think we all went into this knowing Becky Lynch was going to be that mystery partner. It was the only thing that made sense. And of course, she did return, and it was a great ovation. And the second Becky Lynch's music hit, I knew that she was going to win. If it had been Bayley and Lyra, I really do feel like it would have been Liv and Raquel to retain. But because it was Becky, you got to give Becky that triumphant hero's return and the win as a result. So this match, perfectly fine. I give it 3.25 stars. I mean, because of the pop alone and the fact that Becky Lynch showed up and won a title, that's huge. But in context of like being a solid match, there was a lot of great moments there. I think the match they had on Raw was better, quite honestly, but this was a great moment. And that's the thing. Lyra kind of getting that stamp of approval by association with Becky Lynch, huge. It will be interesting to see where we go from here after what occurred on Monday Night Raw. I'm really excited. If you don't know, you don't want any spoilers, go away now. Okay, cool. Becky Lynch turning heel. She does her best work as a heel. So very excited to see where we go with a heel Becky going after that IC title. I think it's going to elevate the championship very much like if Bayley had turned on Lyra Valkyria. But this match, really solid, serviceable, 3.25 stars. Finally, we have the WWE Championship match. John Cena defeating Cody Rhodes to win number 17. And guys, when I tell you, like, this match never really clicked at any point for me. I've seen ratings out there anywhere from -5 stars from Steve, all the way up to like 4.25 from other people on TikTok. And I kind of fall somewhere in the middle. I give this match 1 star. I know there's been an interview with The Rock where he came out and said that he didn't really need to be involved in the match, but if this is what we had instead, Rock should have showed up. Give us some intrigue. The second Steve Austin came out and crashed into a fan with his ATV, I knew that there was going to be nothing of interest that occurred in the main event. Travis Scott being the deciding factor to a degree and being the distraction and taking his sweet time to stroll on down to the ring and get a entrance graphic and take a full 2 minutes to even get to the ring, killed the pacing, if you could even kill the pace that wasn't there. It was just a weird match. And, John Cena said he was going to ruin wrestling. He quite literally did. And I get it. Like, if that's what you're going for, great job. You accomplished what you were going for. This was the antithesis of a Cody Rhodes match that we've seen over the last year, especially since he took the title from Roman when he finished the story at last WrestleMania. But this match didn't do it for me. Seems like it didn't do a lot for a lot of people. For some people, well, it was the end-all, be-all, best match of WrestleMania. I think those people need to have their head checked. This gets 1 star. The reason it gets any kind of rating for me is the fact that John Cena did win number 17, which is awesome to see. I was really glad that happened. I just don't like any of how we got there in this match. The story, they did a good job developing some interest and intrigue, and the fact that Cena turned heel, I think we're resting a little too much on that. I think the promo that occurred the following night and everything that happened with Randy Orton was light years better than what happened at WrestleMania. So I am very excited to see that match. I'm assuming that's going to be the main event of Backlash. I think it's occurring in St. Louis, Randy Orton's hometown. But the match at WrestleMania, the main event of WrestleMania, one of the worst. I mean, this is probably in the 6 or 7 worst WrestleMania main events of all time, which is really sad, being John Cena's last WrestleMania match. Give it 1 star. All right, guys, that's my review of WrestleMania 41, Nights 1 and 2. Let me know in the comments down below what you thought of WrestleMania 41. Did you like the main event? Did you hate the main event? Or were you kind of somewhere in the middle? Let me know in the comments down below. Make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel. We just hit 2,400 subscribers. How quickly can we get to 2,500 subscribers? Maybe by Backlash, maybe if not then by the Switch 2 release. Because if you don't know, we are not only a wrestling channel, we're also a gaming channel. So if you like video games, you're in the right place. Thank you guys so much for the support. I will see you very soon.